Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
We now wander off the beaten path with an update from the Reefer Reporter.
Hello and welcome to the Reefer Reporters. It's May the 2nd, 2022, and we are live here at the Pace Radio Network's YouTube channel and on Facebook as we bring you our global Reefer Report from the Legacy420.com news desk. Good morning, Reverend Kelly. How are we doing this morning?
Good morning. Happy Monday morning. It's May. May just came up so fast. It was like, wasn't it just April? And now it's May. I can't believe it.
Now it's May. 4 months have already passed. We're a third of the way through 2022.
I know. And it's May 2. So May 2, or however we look at it. Yesterday was Beltane, May Day. So that was a big thing. And today in the village of Orono, it's packed. It's like I've never seen it so busy here. And I think that's because we have a brand new mosque around the corner from here. And I believe it's the last day of Eid. Don't quote me on it, but it's something to do with the Muslim faith. And the whole village is packed. So if anybody's listening and celebrating today, happy whatever day it is in that religion.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. I can't help you out there.
Ramadan or something beautiful like
that. I haven't got a clue. Now, how was the lounge over the last week?
We had the Cannabis came.
Oh, nice.
And he tried the Puffco Peak. Do you know about the Puffco Peak?
No.
It's this dab rig, and it's about this big. Wait, this big, and it's got a little peak, and you dab it, and it's his newest contraption. Anyway, I tried it out.
You did, and how was it?
it was whoa. Yeah, it was
It sounds like it worked. It was effective.
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right, that's good. All right, well, what do you say? We get started with today's news. All righty. First up, we got Canadian cannabis producer Hexo appoints new CEO and CFO yet again.
Major Canadian cannabis company Hexo Corporation appointed its third chief executive in less than a year and its sixth chief financial officer since 2019. Sixth
chief financial officer in 3 years, and the third chief executive officer in a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sounds a little funny.
Yeah. Charlie Bowman will serve as acting president and CEO and will become permanent upon a Health Canada security clearance, Hexo announced on Friday.
Now, Bowman was previously their acting chief operating officer and general manager in the U.S.
Yeah, he replaces the former CEO, Scott Cooper, who took charge at Hexo back in October of 2021 after the ouster of Hexo founder and CEO Sebastian St. Louis.
Okay, so the company's news release said after resetting operations as acting COO, Bowman is well positioned to guide towards becoming a cash flow positive, which is, let's hope they are, because they haven't been doing well.
No, actually, at one point there, I thought they were doing really well, and then all of a sudden,
and then they've tanked.
You're starting to hear all this stuff going on about some shareholders wanting to remove people, and then just going, wow, what's going on? So, let's see. Acting CFO Curtis Solvig is also exiting the company to be replaced by Julius Ivansitz as an acting basis until his security clearance is granted. So the acting guy is being replaced by an acting person.
I know, yeah. There was CFO for the Miami-based Goba Capital. They're saying they burned through 6 CFOs since 2019. Oh my goodness. Woo.
Yeah, the Trouble Company, the Trouble Cannabis producers experienced significant upheaval in recent months, having reformed its board of directors in a deal with an activist investor. As I mentioned, something was going on there.
Right.
Signed a strategic alliance with competitor Tilray in exchange for Tilray taking on Hexo's debt. And they posted a significant loss in its most recent quarter.
But the worst of all of the news, they announced the closure of the facility in Belleville last week, laying off 230 workers.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. 230 people lost their
What's going
jobs.
on? I had such hope for this company.
You did you? Yeah, I just sort of say neutral and all that end of things as far as the company wise, but
Yeah, I like them.
yeah, yeah, it would be nice, especially in the rural area, like in Belleville. It's a rural city. It's a small place,
Yeah.
and it supplied jobs, right?
230.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good.
All right, on to our next story. And this one says that cannabis producers remain near the bottom of the Canadian corporate reputation survey.
That's right. Cannabis producers are among the least reputable corporations in the eyes of Canadians. They're ranking alongside petroleum companies and others, largely because they remain unknown to the general public, according to a new survey measuring the reputations of nearly 300 businesses operating in Canada.
Still, that's a small improvement over the previous corporate reputation surveys conducted by Ledger, a Quebec-based market research and analyst firm. So things have improved.
I guess so. If anything, the reputation has been dropping slightly over the last little while. Dave Schultz, executive vice president at Ledger, told this article in a phone interview.
Yeah, he says that this is the first year we actually see an increase. It went up collectively by 1 point on our reputation scale, he says.
Right. Now, Ledger's reputation study applies a reputation score to determine the most reputable companies in Canada, all the way down to those held in the lowest esteem.
Yeah, the reputation scores of the biggest cannabis producers in Canada reflect the fact they're far from being household names, although the companies could take some steps to burnish their corporate reputations in the eyes of the general public. Being unknown brings as much opportunity as it does a risk.
Schultz is quoted as saying, if something bad happens in the cannabis industry, I don't want people to automatically assume that applies to everybody.
Yeah, that happens. That happens in a lot of stuff. It doesn't matter whether it's a business or just in. Well, you got to think. Just look at cannabis as way for years. It's always been looked at, stigmatized, and looked down on.
Right.
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 So, yeah. Let's see, where are we now? So creating the corporate identity that separates you and raises you above allows you to have a safety net, he says.
Right. Now, the new report, which ranks 288 companies operating in Canada, also shed light on why cannabis producers have thus far failed to differentiate themselves from one another.
Yeah, back in December 2021 into January of this year, the survey asked more than 38,000 French and English-speaking Canadians for their perspectives on the companies across 30 different sectors.
So Shoppers Drug Mart, which is the national pharmacy chain that currently operates online medical cannabis marketplace, topped the most reputable list, followed by consumer electronic giants Sony of Japan and Samsung of South Korea, respectively.
The top-ranked cannabis companies were Edmonton, Alberta-based Aurora Cannabis, which ranked 180th overall, with Canopy Growth, which was at 186th.
Wow. Okay, so those rankings put those two companies in the neighborhood of Canadian online investment management service Wealthsimple and social media giant Facebook.
However, all the other cannabis companies ranked between 230th and 280th among the 288 companies included in the survey.
Wow. I guess it is still that stigma.
Yeah. Oh.
It still is. Cannabis is bad. Cover up those windows. Don't let the kids see it. It must still be bad. I don't.
Yeah. Stigma continues.
Sorry?
Stigma continues.
Still continues. Ranked at the bottom of the list were Chinese multinational technology corporation Hawaii and scandal-plagued engineering company SNC Lavalin, which is based in Montreal.
Yeah, exactly. One of the biggest hurdles for Canadian producers is the general public still doesn't know who they are, according to what the survey data shows. Big factor is people just don't know them, according to Schultz.
Nope. Now, for Aurora, the top-ranked cannabis company, 42% of respondents had at least some awareness of the company. In this case, awareness in a good opinion, plus bad opinion, plus does not know enough. So it could be anything. Anything. They just have to know about them.
Yeah.
17% had a good opinion of Aurora, so that's good.
Yeah, 3% had a bad opinion. 21% answered does not know enough.
58% does not know at all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. 60% of the people that they asked didn't even know about the company.
And then look at Tilray's numbers here.
Yeah, 7% had a good opinion. Ooh. 1% had a bad opinion. 16% answered they didn't know enough. 76% didn't even
Know them at all. Tilray what? Tilray who? Right,
Yeah,
but you know all the beer manufacturers. I bet you could list all the big tycoon beer manufacturers in Canada.
sure could.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. They say without a good reputation, it's hard to differentiate, your organization companies from each other. They say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. We're cannabis companies aren't very high on the list when it comes
Of
to.
even knowing what they are.
Yeah. Never mind. You got to know them in order to be able to build a reputation, right?
Right. Meanwhile, the gross domestic product, is that what it's called, is
Yes.
comparable to the dairy industry in our country. The amount of money that we make in this country on cannabis, and taxes that have come in from taxes, yet the people don't know anything about the
People don't
companies
know,
that
eh?
make it or where it's
Yeah.
from. Isn't that interesting?
Needs to spread out some more. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
It's not like they can
You're like,
advertise
well, I
it.
guess you got to look at the advertising rules, the regulations
Yeah.
prevent a lot of any promotion, really, like any big promotion where they would get out there. You don't see ads on TV.
Nope.
Yeah.
I know.
So, and sometimes the only time you hear anything bad is when it's bad. So, alrighty, on to the next story, which some say could be a good news. Why cannabis prices are plunging, unlike just about everything else.
Like gas and food, would just eat and drive our weed.
Yeah,
As Canadians
exactly.
deal with the highest inflation in decades and broadening price hikes, one industry remains locked in a lengthy trend of discounting and bargain rates, which is cannabis.
Landon, with inventory producers and retailers of cannabis, have been lashing the prices of their products to bring in cash and fight for the market share, a situation that is widely different from the state of affairs in most other industries in which broad economic forces are pushing up prices among competitors.
Ooh, so prices for recreational and medicinal cannabis have dropped by 8.3% and 10.2%, respectively, over the past year, and by roughly 25% in both categories since the end of 2018, according to Stats Canada. The annual inflation rate hit 6.7% in March, the highest since 1991.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Now, does that just tell you that they were way overpriced over the last couple of years?
Yes. 100%. Still are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I couldn't believe it. I went and bought 4 cannabis beverages over the weekend in order to supply them with some people who were giving me help. Instead of giving them a beer, I gave them a cannabis beverage.
Yeah.
Right. And only one got drank.
Yeah. And was the price comparable to alcohol?
$8 for one.
What?
For one. Oh, yeah. Plus tax.
I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't believe it. But 4 cost me $32 in tax. So let's just say $35. So my first question to my friends is, what's a case of beer cost these days?
Yeah.
Isn't
Isn't a whole case of the 24 beers something around what you paid for the 8? Or for the 4? Like $30 you can get a case of beer?
My understanding of 2-4 is somewhere around $50.
Okay, so maybe you would get 12 beers for what you paid for 4.
Yeah.
Not good. That's why. So now we're talking about how the prices are still high and need to come down.
Correct. Yeah. So it'd be nice to see them come down. So, all right. Be nice. That's for sure. StatCan measures the prices of dried flower and oil in the legal market, accounting for factors such as product size and levels of THC. And retail prices have also fallen sharply for vape pens, pre-rolls, edibles, and THC-infused beverages. Oh, really?
Yes.
According to the other data providers, really. I just paid $8, like I said.
But did that come down? What was it before? If it's $8 each now.
Exactly. What was it before? So there you can see the graph, eh?
Yeah, the graph's showing that a lot of those are coming down. Now, more than 3 years after legalization of recreational use, the cannabis industry remains highly competitive. Many big name producers have lost market share over the past year, and recent capital raises have stalled a long anticipated wave of consolidation and closures.
The future trajectory for cannabis prices is hardly certain, and it depends somewhat on the viability of companies with years of losses under their belts.
Now, a lot of public companies are selling at a loss, and they're able to do that because they just keep tapping into the markets to bring in cash and then keep selling, says Prin Sabalchagam, who is the Senior Vice President of Finance at Aurora Cannabis.
Yeah. They say that, but he says, I think that day is slowly coming to an end.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
The current environment is a far cry from the opening months of legalization, when the retail market was severely underserved and prices were prohibitive compared to those in the illicit market. We had 25 stores and we were paying $30 a gram. So I don't think, of course.
I can remember doing a story about the prices of a joint. On this one particular joint was $26.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Nope. No, not worth it then.
Yeah. That was scary. $26. No, thank you. Simply put, cannabis producers were harvesting far more than Canadians could possibly smoke or ingest. Despite growing retail sales, the domestic market isn't nearly as large as industry boosters and hopefuls investors had envisioned, leading to bloated inventories.
Right. So consumers have pretty clear about what they do like. Cheaper pot. I love that. Yes, we do.
Sure do. That's right.
In December of last year, 61% of sales of dried flower on the Ontario Cannabis Store website between $3 and $6.50 per gram basis, according to its latest quarterly report. Retail stores, 45% of sales were in that range. The cheapest dried cannabis on the provincial site sells for 3.57 cents a gram. Oh, taxes included, albeit using the purchase of 28. Oh, you have to get 28 grams, a large amount for a recreational user.
So that's an average price. If you're buying it at a gram, at buying 28 grams, it's not going in and just buying a gram.
I know, it's like, woo, okay. What store is that?
Yeah, exactly. Much like in other industries, probably the biggest chunk of the market is going to be value-priced products, according to Professor Armstrong, who researches the industry. Most consumers just want something decent at a low price, particularly if they're heavy users.
So look at that. It's showing the bar graph and showing that OCS, I guess they have better prices. I didn't know that. I'm going to go on there next. Okay, well.
Yeah.
Good to know. As low prices persist, buyers are leaving the illicit market. Legal vendors now scoop up a majority of cannabis sales in Ontario, a feat they finally achieved in the second half of 2021.
Yeah, they say that according to Bennett Goldberg, a chief executive officer at Organogram, says that I think we got to a point where flower pricing in the value segment is actually at or even slightly below what the illicit market is at, according to them. Now I have no clue. So
yeah, and to be honest, it's better quality. When I'm going to a legal store or I'm going to the guy around the corner and I'm getting it for cheaper when I'm going to a legal store, it's also better quality, in my opinion.
That's from your experience. Yeah. Well, I'm sure. Yeah. That could be.
Within the legal market, analysts say there's a little brand loyalty and market share is tenacious. In March 2021, 4 large producers, Tilray, Hexo, Cannabis, and Aurora, accounted for 54% of retail sales, according to figures from Hi-Fire, a data platform that covers a portion of the Canadian cannabis retail market. A year later, they made up just 28% of sales.
That's a 50% drop.
Yep. Yep. And I think that's because we're looking for craft now.
Yeah. Yep. Some producers aren't keen to join a race at the bottom. You're seeing an acceleration of irrational pricing, particularly around discount flower. And we've made the determination that we're going to get out of certain categories that don't make sense and lose money, according to Mijo Martin, the CEO of Aurora Cannabis.
But they're also saying another key element in lower prices is the proliferation of pot shops.
Yeah,
What difference would that make?
Competition between the stores. Okay.
Well, why would that make it lower though?
Lower the prices? Well, because
of the competition.
Yeah, because of the competition. So that would lower the prices. But there's not a lot of room, I wouldn't think, like for the retailer between what they're buying at the wholesale.
No, there's not.
A wiggle room there. So unless there's some type of deal that they can get through the OCS,
right?
That's where they have to buy it, right?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. That it won't make much of a difference because these guys that want to stay in business, they're willing to do the bargain basement prices. They're willing to just make enough money to keep going so that they outlast the other guys.
Correct. Yeah.
I've had conversations with them. They're saying, no, we'll do it.
Yeah. Just to stay afloat, not worry about so much. Be bigger than, but just stay, alive.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Any more there on that story?
It just talks about how cannabis stores have sprouted up everywhere and, everything, stuff that we talk about all the time. It's interesting to see. We'll watch that. We'll watch that data.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Get the next story lined up here. We're going to be stopping here in Ontario on this next story. And headline says more than $6 million worth of illegal cannabis seized in Ontario, according to the police.
Look at that shadow.
Now, one thing shoot. I just dropped the screen there.
Did you close it?
Okay. I closed it. I'm bringing it back up.
Beautiful looking shatter.
There we go. We go.
Woo!
Yeah. It does look good.
Good right there.
Yeah, this is that dangerous stuff called money.
Police in central Ontario say they busted an illegal cannabis production and distribution network and seized more than $6 million worth of illegal cannabis and related products, including edibles, shatter, and psilocybin. And it's near us, Al.
Yes, it is. It is near us. But I do have to question the value on there. And I'm not the only one's questioning. Other people question this too. And that is the fact that they are using the value of cannabis from before legalization. Whereas right now on the open market, on the black market, you're not getting $2,000 a pound. No. They're only getting $500 a pound.
Yeah.
So really, should they not be decreasing the values of these headline screaming dollars, big numbers down like 75% of what they say that they are? Just something that should be questioned, I think. So go ahead.
I agree with you. In a news release issued Thursday, the OPP said the service's Provincial Joint Forces Cannabis Enforcement Team, they launched an investigation into the illegal operation and 5 search warrants were executed on April 21st. I find that very funny. They waited after our high holiday day.
After our holiday day. Yes. Those search warrants, including 3 residential properties and 2 motor vehicles, and resulted in the seizure of 470 kilograms of processed cannabis, 100 kilograms of hash, 80 kilograms of resin, 100 kilograms of edibles, 7 kilograms of shatter, 80 kilograms of distillate, and 700 grams of psilocybin.
That sounds like a wonderful weekend.
Well, you also got to think and read all that stuff off, and I'm thinking medicine in my head all the way through.
I know. I'm like, oh,
FICO,
wow.
Resin oil, FICO, right?
Wow. Now, 3 motor vehicles valued at $75,000 were also deemed to be offense-related property and included in the seizure, as well as approximately $400,000 in Canadian currency.
Right. Police say the total value of the item seized was $6 million, which I said at the beginning, I questioned. 3 suspects are facing a combined 13 charges as a result of the investigation.
You got somebody from Omemee. You got Claremont. We've got a whole bunch of the area that we're servicing
Weird.
not too far from here.
That's
And then
right.
they've got a beautiful picture of, I guess, gas gang. So those are not, that's not cannabis. Those are gas masks.
Gas mask. You
Yeah.
see that jar of oil there,
Yeah.
right?
There's a lot of those. Oh my goodness. I'm
Yeah.
just checking to see if I recognize any of the packages.
Ah,
Because
I
it's
see,
from our
huh?
area, right?
Yeah.
Two of the suspects are also charged with possession of property obtained by crime over 5,000 and alter or offer to alter the chemical or physical properties of cannabis by the use of an organic solvent. Ooh, that's interesting.
You know what that's all about, eh?
The processing, how you're not allowed to process butane.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to process it, make it into oil, so you're not allowed to use any combustibles, things like, well, the oil or the alcohol, even like the high grade alcohol, is something you would think is you can go to the LCBO and get it.
Yep.
Even that you're not even allowed to make your oil with because it explodes.
Nope.
But rosin, there's no heat involved as far as an explosion, any solvents
Right. Just the
involved.
push. Yeah.
Right. And
Interesting.
so there's no explosion with that. So that's,
So of course they have those extra charges.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We're
they're
going
gonna
to appear in court in Oshawa in a couple of weeks, actually, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
And, they haven't been proven to court yet, obviously. So,
Yep.
so
So
there you
usually
go.
when things like this happen, the area that it services is affected by it. Right. So even though we talk about our access to legal stores and medical stores, there still is a room for the illicit market, for the legacy market.
Oh,
So
for sure.
when
Yeah.
things like this happen, the area is hit by it because they're used to getting their stuff locally, right?
Correct. Like I talked to a lady on the weekend who was visiting somebody, and I was really surprised because they were wearing a shirt that said "Up in Smoke," and I thought, well, Up in Smoke Cafe. I said, oh, did you go to the cafe back in the day? And they said, huh? Never heard of it. And that's what they were. They were a company that was dealing with deliveries of cannabis.
Yeah. Cool.
I went, wow.
Yeah.
yeah. It was just ran into this person at a friend's house, and I didn't even know who they were.
It's still a market for it.
Correct. Exactly. All right, on to the next story. This headline says, Glasshouse Brands closes acquisition of cannabis edibles manufacturer Plus products for $25.6 million.
That's right. It is the Glasshouse Brands Incorporated, one of the fastest growing vertically integrated cannabis companies in the U.S. And Plus Products Incorporated has announced that Glasshouse has completed the acquisition of the business of Plus, a leading cannabis edibles company based in California. Now, the company acquired Plus for approximately $25.6 million through a combination of unsecured convertible debt and equity plus additional performance-based consideration. That's a big acquisition.
Yeah. They say the combination of our existing brand platform with Plus will result in a substantial increase in our total addressable market, which is called TAM, opportunity in California and eventually across the U.S. The overlap between Glasshouse Brands' active accounts and Plus was less than 25% in the first quarter, with Glasshouse being stronger in Southern California and Plus being stronger in the north. So it sounds like me, Kelly, they end up getting both ends in this deal.
Yeah. I've heard of this brand. I feel like it has something to do with skunk, maybe.
Oh, I haven't got a clue.
I've heard of this brand for sure, all the way up here in the north. Now, Mr. Kazan added, the upside of the current struggle in California market is that we believe we will find more attractively valued acquisition targets than our win-win propositions for all parties, including the consumer. We look forward to entering the new stage of growth by executing on Plus and Glasshouse's shared vision of bringing innovative, high-quality cannabis products to consumers.
Yep, the company's house cannabis brand, Glasshouse, was the number one ranked flower brand by sales in California in the first quarter of 2022. Plus is a leading edibles brand in California and was the number 4 ranked edibles brand in the state in the first quarter. So there you go.
And they can have higher milligrams than we can have in their.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to work on that here in our Sure.
We do. We need some of those glass house products up here.
Yeah. Well, we need higher dosing products. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. So, all right. It's break time.
Yeah.
Off the break we go. Reverend Kelly and I will be right back in about 3 or 4 minutes. You're watching Reefer Reporters live here on the Pace Radio Network. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
Let's share Pace everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains, and when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed, and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net. We are back from our medication break, and Kelly is getting back to her desk just in time. And yes, we are live here on the Pace Radio Network's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Let's make sure that headset's not muted. It is.
I was feeling like I was getting a little bit of echoing, so I dug out my headset, and now I think we'll be much better.
Okay, there you go. All righty. Okie dokie. On to our first story after the break, and here we go. Bankers Association from all 50 states pushed Senate to pass marijuana banking reform as part of a large-scale bill. Yes.
Banking associations representing all 50 states and 1 U.S. territory sent a letter to Senate leaders on Thursday, imploring them to include cannabis banking reform in a larger scale manufacturing bill that's heading to bicameral conference. I don't know that word. Bicameral?
Bicameral? Yeah.
It's a nice word.
Who knows?
New word today.
Yeah. The American Bankers Association and the state associations said that the Secure and Fair Enforcement Banking Act, which is SAFE, is urgently needed and widely supported bipartisan legislation solution to allow banks to handle the proceeds from the state licensed cannabis businesses and accountants, skilled trades, landlords, law firms, and other service providers that rely upon for legal operations.
Now, the House included the reform in its version of the America Competes Act, marking the 6th time that the chamber has advanced to legislation, but the provision was stripped in the Senate. Again.
Again. Now, advocates and stakeholders are stepping up their push to get the language attached to the final package, and key lawmakers in both chambers have signaled that they would be working to achieve that. You got to think, Kelly, this is the Bankers Association. This is bankers asking for this.
I know. Like real legitimate ones.
Yeah.
The banking groups wrote that the current lack of banking access for cannabis businesses means that the industry is operating primarily in cash, which causes significant public safety concerns and undermines the ability of cannabis regulators, tax collectors, law enforcement, and national security organizations to monitor the industry effectively.
The Safe Banking Act is a narrowly tailored solution designed to bring this growing industry into the regulated banking system, provide much needed visibility into its financial activity, according to the letter, adding that the measure would promote transparency and improve tax collection.
Now, the inability of the state licensed cannabis industry to access safe and regulated financial services is a pressing concern for so many of our nation's communities and the banks that serve them. With state licensed cannabis businesses currently operating in 37 states and more states weighing legalization, we urge you to include the Safe Banking Act in the compromise version of the Competes Act to address these crucial issues as quickly as possible. Wow, that's a big statement right there. Hi, guys, wake up.
Yeah, like
they want it.
It got me thinking that, the federal government allows the states, or is allowing the states to go ahead and make up the decisions on the cannabis end, but the banking end, they're putting those people that they're allowing to do this, even though it's against their law, federal law, putting them in risk. And they say they bring, like here in Canada, they wanted to bring the cannabis out of the underground, bring it up above, so it's out in the open, for safety reasons, so on and so forth. So wouldn't it be best to bring the banking into reality in order to make it safe for the industry?
Absolutely. And we know that here we have trouble opening up bank accounts. If you have the name cannabis in your name, even though it's legal, even though it's been legal for 3 years, if you have the name cannabis in your name, there are banks that will not even talk to you. I know that because I tried.
Yeah,
exactly. And this is where we're federally legal. So even when they do this, even when they allow the Safe Banking Act in, it's still going to take a while for them to churn it out, because look, we're 3 years in and we still can't get bank accounts.
Yeah, well, it's because of the Fed. It's because of the U.S.
Right. That's exactly it.
Once the U.S. does it, then it'll start to roll.
We can hope.
And it won't happen overnight. But
no.
Yeah.
So Bloomnauer, he's a long-standing champion for cannabis reform, and he was appointed to serve as a conferee on the American Competes Act. He sent a separate letter on the issue to the House and Senate leadership this week, alongside the safe banking sponsor, Perlmutter.
Yeah. At a recent event hosted by ABA, Perlmutter said that he will continue to be a real pest and persistent in getting this done before he leaves Congress.
I like Perlmutter. I like that. Ahead of that event, the financial group released a poll that is commissioned showing that a strong majority of Americans support freeing up banks to work with cannabis businesses without facing federal penalties.
Yeah, even the people agree. Come on. Meanwhile, some are holding out hope that conferees will work to get the banking reform proposal back into the American Competes Act.
Now, Senator Patty Murray, a conferee with the third highest ranking Senate Democrat, recently visited a credit union for an event where she reiterated her support for passing the bipartisan cannabis banking reform bill and explained that she'll fight to get the policy change enacted sooner rather than later. They've got some warriors, Some big voices.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, another one, Maxine Waters, she also listed it as a priority in order to get this done as well. So
Okay.
there's people out there that want this done, and it's not, the banking association. Come on, it's the bankers.
I mean, we've got another list of more and more of these people that are coming on board. It's going to happen this year. Now, the
Yeah.
reluctance from the Senate to pass the Safe Banking Act prior to enacting comprehensive legislation was also the subject of a letter from Perlmutter that was sent to Senate leadership last week.
Adding pressure to pass the marijuana banking bill as part of the American competes is the fact that the majority leader Chuck Schumer recently said that the timeline for the introduction of his legislation bill has been pushed back, despite saying previously that it would be formally filed this month.
As Congress continues to stall on cannabis banking reform, more state officials and lawmakers are taking steps on their own to resolve the issue, especially in light of the targeted crime surge.
Yes. The Washington State's treasurer there, they say that has been especially vocal about the need for congressional reform. And he wrote a recent letter to his colleagues in other states that it's just not safe to have this financial volume in cash.
He made similar remarks at a recent conference of the National Association of State Treasurers, and Colorado Treasurer Dave Young echoed that sentiment in a recent interview.
Yeah, and Pennsylvania Senate has approved a bill that safeguards the banks and insurers from the state regulators. So that, they're doing it on the state end. Like, come on, feds.
Over and over, support after support. Now, despite recently saying he's confident that the Senate bill will take up his bill this session, the congressman recognized that he's supportive of revisions relating to criminal justice reform, taxation, research, and other issues. He knows that as we expand this thing, then we start losing votes, particularly Republican votes, and we've got enough votes in the Senate to do it as is. This is Perlmutter. So he's just really bit by bit. One fight after one fight, and this is his fight right now. It's the banking reform, and I think he's smart to do it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I see here they say that the number of banks that report working with cannabis businesses ticked up again at the end of 2021. So some banks, obviously, must be smaller banks, are doing them, eh? So yeah, let's get it in gear, boys. Get the banks.
So much support.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
When the bankers are asking for it, it's sort of a given that they're going to look the other way when it was come to the cannabis businesses asking for banking privileges. But this is the Bankers Association asking it. So
absolutely. And it is having a positive impact on society.
Yes, it is. And that brings us to our next story, because the next story headline says this many Americans now think cannabis is having a positive impact on society.
10 years after Washington and Colorado became the first states to legalize cannabis for adult use, much has changed. Many Americans now believe cannabis has had a generally positive impact on society, not just health-wise, but in the creation of quality jobs, both at the national level and local levels.
Yeah, this is according to the findings made by the latest Pullfish survey. The survey also revealed that more than half of the respondents attempted legal cannabis for the first time this past year.
Now, to carry out the survey, a total of 1,100 Americans aged 21 and above were interviewed for their opinions on cannabis. Each respondent was asked to share their thoughts on cannabis, its legalization, and consumption habits. At the end of the survey, about 2/3 of the informants strongly believe that cannabis has had a generally positive effect on society. More than half, which is 61.5% of the respondents, also believe that cannabis plays a vital role in raising economic growth in the United States.
Come on. About 62% also felt the cannabis industry is very vital for the local economy. A total of 67.5% of the respondents also affirmed that restrictions placed on federal banking should be lifted to enable American cannabis firms to have access to funding and banking services. The people want it, Joe.
Yes. It is also important to note that out of the 1,100 respondents, only 43% lived in states where cannabis is legalized for adult use. On the other hand, 22% resided in states where cannabis is completely banned, and 26% resided in states where cannabis is legalized only for medical use.
Yeah, so it's not all from legal states. It's good to see.
Right.
Among the respondents, more than half, at 67%, had acquired cannabis through legal means. 31% claimed to use the herb for medical purposes. 16% admitted to use for recreational purposes. 22% for stress. 10% for wellness. And 13% for sleep. A total of 55% of the informants also claimed to have tried cannabis for the very first time since last year. Another 40% of the respondents affirmed consuming cannabis once or twice every week.
Some respondents claimed never to have tried cannabis. About 21% affirmed not to be interested in consuming cannabis, while 33% had never used cannabis legally. However, 26.1% of these non-consumers claimed to want to try cannabis purely for medical reasons, while 15% would try it out for recreational reasons, and 23.4% claimed they'd try it to combat stress. Oh, that's a good figure.
It's a good figure. I was recently, I can see that. People trying it for medical reasons off the bat. They've never tried it before. 10% and 8% of the non-consumers also affirmed that they would be trying cannabis for wellness and sleep purposes. A larger percentage of non-consumers also claim they would love to try out edible products first. Those probably people who aren't smokers too.
Right. Yeah. The beverages. Among the vital results, the survey reflected the level of support for cannabis legalization across the political scope. Respondents who identified as independents, which is 24%, Republicans 25%, Democrats 33%, and others were 4.8%. And they were asked if they would endorse pro-legalization candidates. About 60% gave a positive reply.
Yeah, that's candidates. That's, people that are all for it instead of just, and they're running. The poll also indicated that 3 out of the 4 Americans have the opinion that the Department of Veterans Affairs should review its policy. They believe the new policy should enable veterans to have access to cannabis for medical use based on a doctor's prescription. 3 out of 4, 3/4% of the country.
Right.
Come on, VA.
Right. Now, the founder and CEO of Joshi Holdings, his name is Jim Cacipio, who commissioned the study, he claims that more Americans have been venturing into the legal cannabis market. He affirmed that such is made possible thanks to legalization of recreational use of cannabis that took place 10 years ago. He went to say that this movement into legal cannabis market had changed people's perception of cannabis and the industry in general. I didn't realize it was 10 years out. That's a long time.
Long
time.
Right. Now, according to Jim, the increase in quality jobs and societal and economic perks of the regulated marketplace are evidently echoing among Americans. Hence, he believes the current trend will only grow and intensify with time as more people come to accept cannabis.
Yes, hello. But 1/3 of respondents who use cannabis stated that they use it once or twice per week. The survey showed that most consume cannabis products in the evening.
Probably because
Have
they're
to
at
agree with
work.
that. Yep.
Probably because they're at work through the day.
Yep.
Before the survey, it was already established that cannabis is commonly used for pain control in the United States. However, while cannabis isn't strong enough for serious pain, for instance, a broken bone, it is very effective for mild pains. In fact, a lot of Americans prefer to use cannabis for medical use instead of opiates, and it is less addictive and impossible to overdose.
Yeah. I don't know. If I had a broken bone now, I would want to choose cannabis for my pain relief as opposed to anything else. Cannabis can't mend my broken bone, but it sure can make me feel a lot better and take away my pain.
Well, there has been studies that show that cannabis does help with bone growth.
Oh, see? Just rub that everywhere. Everything. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, several reports have also claimed the use of cannabis in treating cystitis, endometritis, fibromyalgia, other conditions for chronic pain. Also used in weight loss treatment, nausea management, glaucoma. We have a huge list here.
Yes, exactly. Now, then the conclusion they say is the survey suggests the positive impact of cannabis on society is significant, and more is expected to come. An interesting research right now is the use of cannabis in the treatment of PTSD for veterans coming back from the other combat zone. This is why many non-advocates that the Department of Veteran Affairs should review its policy to enable veterans and have access to cannabis for medical use.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of numbers in that article.
I like it.
Yeah, and people are always saying, where's the data? Well, that's when you get into those long
Yep.
surveys like that with a lot of numbers.
Yep.
A lot of numbers.
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to talk about some people in the food industry that have some concerns.
Uh-oh.
And here we go. Major food brands seek crackdown on marijuana-infused copycats.
Two fourth graders in Edmond, Oklahoma went to the hospital after eating what looked like commercial gummy candies. In Cooper City, Florida, 9 children were hospitalized after snarfing what seemed almost identical to common brand of sour candy. Roy, Utah, 5 children consumed a candy called Nerds Rope. 2 of them hospitalized. The package looked just like the popular candy made by Nestle, but the product contained 400 milligrams of THC. So the candy with about 40 times normal dose used by regular users was accidentally given out in food boxes to 63 people in the Utah Food Bank. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an accident.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
This week a dozen major food and beverage companies, including Pepsi and General Mills and Kellogg's, called on Congress to do more to prevent the proliferation of cannabis-infused copycat products that mimic their well-known brands.
They want to deter the sale of the products by broadening an existing law so that THC-laced products that simulate the famous marks of known brands would be considered counterfeit.
Oh, not just copyright. Now we're going to copy.
Look at the name. Look at the name.
Double stuffed Stonos might be worth a chuckle if you're in the right frame of mind, but children are increasingly being duped by the use of the famous brand logos, characters, trademarks, and fonts in edible products containing THC. On the label, they see the same heather chocolate wafers and creamy filling of their favorite cookie, but do not zero in on the knockoff's fine print that says contains THC. They may not even be reading it yet.
Right. Yes. And I actually recently had a conversation with a dispensary owner on one of the reserves, and he said, "No, it's up to the parents. They must do this. I don't care. I'm gonna keep putting this on my labels." And my response is, well, some of these parents are maybe need a license to parent or are not responsible. The ones that leave their vodka glass on the counter and it looks like water, so the child's going to drink it. There are parents that are like that, unfortunately. So I think it's everybody's job. You can have the product, the Nerd Rope or the Kellogg's cereal in the container, and maybe a little happy sign, but most of the time it should be, "Hey kids, don't even look at this kind of stuff."
It comes down to I agree with some of those people who you were speaking to, because I believe that the response of the adult there has to be responsible.
Yep.
And
but this looks attractive to kids.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they do look attractive to kids. Yeah. And that responsible parent shouldn't be leaving them out where kids can get to them.
Right.
Or educate the kids.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with educating the kids and telling them.
Right.
It's nothing against the law.
Right.
You're not.
But what about the mom stigma? The stigma. And a mom, and she has to hide her cannabis use, and she has one of these packs in her purse, and her 3-year-old comes along and thinks it's the same candy from the 7-Eleven because mom's hiding it still because it's still stigmatized, and she doesn't mean to, but that's what happens. And then now the little one's in the hospital because we never want a child to consume cannabis that doesn't understand, because they wouldn't like that feeling. They're not going to die, but they're not going to like that feeling. It's
like a pet. A dog gets into edibles. They don't know what's going on.
No. That's not fair.
All right, continue on.
New Jersey had its
the U.S. food.
I lost myself here.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration reported 2,362 THC exposure cases from the start of 2021 through this February. Of those exposures, 41% involved children. With medical cannabis now illegal in 37 states and recreational legal in 18 states in the District of Columbia, the number of infused food and beverage items has exploded.
Now, New Jersey had its first day of recreational cannabis sales last week. Customers have bought almost $2 million worth of recreational cannabis products in a single day. Woo!
But that's a problem when the edibles involved are Cheetos, Doritos, or other tasty brand treats. said Danielle Ompad, an epidemiologist who studied illicit drugs. Ompad is the author of a new study on copycat packaging in cannabis sales that was published this month in the journal Drug and Alcohol Dependence.
Yeah, they look exactly like
You can
the
see the
packages.
pictures there.
100%. They look exactly like the packages that you get in a regular store. I don't imagine a lot of people are trying to dose kids, of course, but kids have gotten a hold of people's products. Even if parents have carefully put them away, kids are crafty little creatures. It's true. It's absolutely
They are,
true.
yeah. I'm not going to argue about them. Yeah, they are crafty, aren't they?
Yep.
OPAD says that her investigation of cannabis products, only 8% of the packages were lookalikes. So it's not a widespread problem, she says, but frequently those are sold online, making them harder to regulate or stamp out, says Katie Dennis, the vice president of the communications to the Consumers Brand Association.
Now, she said that in many cases, there are new companies whose sole mission is to make spoof packaging that looks like brand packaging, often with stoner puns and jokes woven in. Cannabis producers buy the empty bags online and fill them with drug-infused product. Many of the copycat packages list no manufacturer, so tracing is hard.
And what do you do? And the testing numbers on the packages are...
Yeah.
In Drug Bust, they are finding these empty Malar bags. It's not always clear you could take legal action against the manufacturer of those empty bags.
Okay. Dennis said the companies are asking for a simple change to the Shop Safe Act, which bars the sale of counterfeit products. They want the language to be amended to include the broader term famous marks that would cover Cheetos, Chester Cheetah, riding a skateboard, which already would be prohibited under the existing law, but also the orange and red bag festooned with its signature nubby orange dusted puffs. A famous mark is something widely recognized by the consuming public. The amendment would make clear that products that loosely spoof well-known products are prohibited for sale under the law if they implicate health and safety. I see them passing this. I think they're going to pass this out.
Yeah, I could see them doing this.
Yep.
I could see them doing this.
Yeah.
But in the end, and we'll close out that story. But in the end, people are like, the product is still illegal.
Yeah.
So they're going to add that other law in there so that they can add more charges because.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe it would deter them a little bit. Who knows? It'll probably end up here too if they're going to do it.
It could, like you say, deter some people knowing that, there's a counterfeit law being added to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
We'll see.
All right. On to the next story from the Fresh Toast. And this says, looks like this will be the first among the British Isles and Europe to legalize cannabis.
Medicinal cannabis was legalized on the Isle of Guernsey in 2020, followed by licensees for cultivation and production and more than 5,000 medical cannabis permits given to patients. Now it appears the Channel Island is looking to fully legalize in all forms of cannabis.
In fact, both Guernsey and Jersey, which sits between the United Kingdom and France, have undertaken cannabis reform in a way unseen in the UK and all of Europe for that matter. And just a side note here, Reverend Kelly.
Yeah.
The Jersey that's mentioned in the thing there.
Yeah.
We've had listeners from that island.
Ooh. Yeah. Is this a picture of it right here?
Because I would say so. Yeah. Could
I
be.
think I'm going to move there now. If they're going to legalize cannabis, nice? Look at that place. Okay,
yeah.
I live there now. We'll see. Hopefully they have good Wi-Fi for the Reefer reporters.
That's right.
In another Channel Island, the Isle of Man is planning a multi-million-dollar medical facility led by the Peel Group investment firm governed by billionaire John Whitaker. Oh my goodness, I think they need cannabis advocates and educators to go over there. What do you think, Al? They need us.
I see your boat is there.
That's my boat.
Yeah.
That's my boat.
The BBC reported that Guernsey's Committee for Health and Social Care suggested that while legalization is being worked on, public health officials should look at how regulated functions in other successful legal cannabis countries through, though it's a short list.
Now, to that end, a group of cross party members of Guernsey's parliament went on a fact finding trip to Canada, which is one of the most remarkable facts they found and probably quite appreciated is that Canada's adult use cannabis market has generated some $11 billion in retail sales and sustains over 90,000 jobs annually. Beautiful
Well,
numbers.
they're going to like that end. While medical cannabis programs in the UK and Europe have been largely driven by patient demand, the Channel Islands are looking closely at the economic benefits.
Right. Now, for islands like Jersey and Guernsey, both of which have a mild climate for greenhouse cultivation, cannabis offers a unique opportunity to access an international market through export. Both islands are positioned to benefit from a rapid rollout that would cement their access to growing a number of EU countries that have approved medical cannabis.
Guernsey is 25 square miles in size, it's not very big, and a population of nearly 700,000 people, as well as Jersey and the Isle of Man, are self-governing and not part of the UK or the European Union. The self-governing status is working to their benefit on this issue. I guess it is.
Yeah. Support for the cannabis legalization on the HSC has been championed for years by their deputy, Mark Ledbeater, who's also the director of the local cannabis cultivation firm. Wonderful.
Yeah, he says that this doesn't need to be the top priority for the HCS in 2022, but cannabis legalization, it is a piece of work we want to get progressed. So it's coming.
It's on the way.
It's on the way. Exactly.
2022 is the year.
That's right. Just another country that's doing that, and you know how he mentioned the UK and stuff, how it is patient driven demand, because over the people have ordered oil from Canada here to get it to over there. So that sort of goes to our next story here, which talks about a Warwickshire boy using medical cannabis seizure-free.
Look at his face. Look at his beautiful face. Oh, look at his big, beautiful.
Look at that. A big smile.
What a nice story to end with. The mom of a boy with severe epilepsy said he had been free of seizures for 2 years since using medical cannabis.
2 years. Wow. And he was Alfie from Warwickshire, nice one, was suffering from 150 seizures a week, but Hannah Deacon said using the drug had transformed his life.
Wow. In 2018, his family celebrated with other campaigners as the government legalized the use of medical cannabis. However, Ms. Deacon claimed many families were still being denied NHS access to medicine.
Correct. Yes. We've covered some stories about some of those patients. Due to the near total block on NHS prescriptions, dozens of other families are having to secure the medicine privately at up to £2,000 a month, and that's pounds and dollars.
Oh, wow. A spokesperson for the Department of Health and Social Care said, "We have changed the law to allow specialist doctors to prescribe cannabis-based products where clinically appropriate and in the best interest of the patient."
Yeah, they believe there's not enough evidence that medical cannabis is safe and effective. We are working closely with regulatory research and NHS patients to establish clinical trials to test the safety and efficacy of more cannabis-based products for medical use to inform future NHS funding decisions.
That's right.
You're holding this up for funding decisions?
Yeah. Licensed cannabis-based medicines are funded by the NHS, the DHSC added, where there is a clear evidence of their quality, safety, and effectiveness.
The BPNA has also been contacted for comment. Since using the drug, Ms. Deacon said it has given her son 2 years of attending school, of making new friends, and have healing from the years of seizures and devastation which hit him for many years before. And they're waiting for more evidence.
Yeah. More evidence.
He's going
Just
to
take
school,
this beautiful boy. Yep. She added that this had given her family a chance to heal. Alfie is 10 now and became front and center of campaigns for the use of cannabis oil when he was aged 7.
It came about when Miss Deacon petitioned the government in March of 2018 after she found his condition improved when he was given a cannabis-based medication in the Netherlands, where it was legal.
Yep. Wow. She's requested a meeting to show how medical cannabis has transformed Alfie's life.
Yeah, and the campaigner added that families were now fearing that private routes to get cannabis would soon be blocked.
And look, it has the different pictures over the years. More on this story, and it shows a story from 2021 and a story from 2018. So she's been in the news all this time fighting for her little one, and now coming forward and saying, "See, look at him."
See,
right?
Look, 2 years. 2 years has passed.
Yep.
You want some proof and some evidence?
Yeah. Here's some proof.
Went from 150.
Look at Alfie.
Yeah, 150 seizures a week to nothing, to seizure-free, going to school, having friends. What nasty side effects am I listing?
I love it. I love that story. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, it's always good to end in it with a good story.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Talking about stories and stuff. What's going on in the lounge coming up?
We're gonna play poker.
Poker?
We're gonna have. I know, but not in a gambling like we're gonna get in trouble way. In kind of like a just for fun where we consume our cannabis and we sit around a table and play with fun chips or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, we're gonna try that in, and we've got canna bingo or weed bingo or something coming up this month too. Isn't that fun? So just some fun events.
Sounds like fun. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
All righty. Look forward to seeing the
you'll have to come
on them. I know.
You'll have to come.
I gotta come down there. I realize that.
Yeah.
I realize. Yeah. Gotta find a spot on the calendar.
I know you're busy.
All right. From the legacy420.com news desk and for our buds at BMA Hydroponics, Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions, and as well as Camel for Lifestyle Shop and Legacy 420 themselves, we'd like to say thank you for watching. And please don't forget that if you miss a show, you can always catch them at the archives at paceradio.net. And until next time, don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's lovely.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our Hydroponics Superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.